For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives. For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Oh, yeah, and it is showtime once again. This is your host, Marcus Mack, and this is the truth about Chicago sports on WRMN 1410 AM in Studio 14, downtown Elgin, Illinois. Let's go. Yeah. In national news, Cubs beat the Cincinnati Reds 1-0 as the Cubs were allowed 4 hits as Talon, I'm going to be honest with you, I stopped really caring about the Cubs a while back because I knew they'd give up. But Jamison Talon pitched 7 crisp innings to get his second straight win, and the Cubs went on to win their opener Friday night in the season-ending series. The Cubs will go on to play today at, I don't want to give you 1:20 time as they get ready to play once again the Reds, and hopefully they can go ahead and get the upper hand in the rubber match game and can finish out the season winning another series, even though a little too late. The Chicago White Sox played yesterday, and they completed their season of fealty with a 121st loss to the Detroit Tigers, who clinched a playoff berth for the first time in a decade, as the Sox went down 4-1 to Detroit. They'll continue on today as they continue their series of fealty. And if anyone is interested in the White Sox whatsoever, because no, I'm not, game time is going to be at 12:10 here at today.
Hey, Marcus.
Yes, sir.
Nick was raising his hand.
Yeah. Nick has his hand raised.
Yeah. How?
Why?
You want it's baseball.
I get it, it's baseball, but it's shiatsu baseball.
Listen.
I was more mad that the Tigers clinched yesterday than just losing.
I'm wearing the shirt. I'm representing the 121 losses with pride. But I'm not going to pretend to you like I'm going to turn to that game when this show ends and I'm going to give them any of my time. Jerry Reinsdorf is black. I don't even know what Hatua, okay?
Yeah. Spit on that thing.
That's what I feel about him, all right, in this situation. We know we got callers on the line. We'll get to you in 1 second, callers, as we're just doing a recap of the weekend sports. We have the Chicago Bears also that dropped a nail biter. Notice I said that with a laugh, to the Indianapolis Colts, which many felt that the Bears should have won, and unfortunately too many turnovers. Caleb had 2 interceptions and a key strip sack fumble to go along with a very questionable call on a 4th and 1 when they probably should have kicked the field goal, and instead decided to go for it to DeAndre Swift on a option route that was blowed up, and I felt was a very pivotal part of the game. The Bears would go on to lose to a winless Colts team that would get their first win against the Chicago Bears as seconds ran off the clock, and the Bears, once again, just like the Cubs season, too little, too late. We'll recap that game real quick, and then we're going to move on into tomorrow's matchup. What did you see was the biggest issues? I'll start with you, Derek, with the Chicago Bears dropping that game to the Colts last Sunday.
Very questionable play calling. And then, like I've said in the previous weeks, the Swiss cheese offensive line. At one point on that goal line with that option call, I believe 4 of the O-linemen were on their asses.
On their backside, big time. It's been showed through social media over and over again. You can go pull it up anywhere. 4 of the offensive linemen on that pitch play are down on the ground. And an Indianapolis Colts team that run defense struggled mightily and had given up 200 yards per team on the ground.
Dead last.
In the first 2 weeks of the season, the Bears could muster nothing. And the part that really disappointed more than anything is the Bears were still in this game. It was 16-21 final score.
Yeah.
If they maybe choose to kick that field goal instead of trying to do that wild pitch play, now you're talking a 19-21 game and a game where you're really putting the pressure at the end on the Colts where you might have had a chance to win by a field goal.
Oh, I mean, instead of the run pass option, you should just went with one of those little screenplays that they'd been doing the entire time because they was only accumulating 2 yards. And what did you need? 1 yard.
1 yard.
Why don't you just do that? It was very, I know.
Very suspect.
The Shane Waldron play calling decisions, they get very much like bolstered at and looked at just because, well, the offensive line is so bad, and that's clearly the only. It's the biggest faux pas on the Bears, obviously, and it's just nothing that's like, oh, we can just add this guy here and then that'll be it. No, offensive line is the thing you need to take care of from day one. It's you can't get guys off the street and just expect them to be. You can do that for quarterback, I guess.
You can't for linemen. You're not going to find big, strong, fat guys that can block for you on the street. It just doesn't exist. And, the Bears are definitely in a lot of trouble when it comes to that offensive line. But, Nick, I want to ask you this because Derek even brought up the play calling aspect of it. Shane Waldron, 3 weeks into the season, how suspect is he?
It's still tough to say. I think this needs to be a mixture of Caleb needs to be maybe step up and say, hey, I like these packages a little bit more. I feel like this is a little bit more comfortable for me right now. And I think again, it's the idea that the Bears offense has no identification right now. Are they going to be the 40 plus, 50 plus passing attempts, or are they going to be the run the ball team? Right now, it's leaning towards the passes, and I'm not opposed to that. But there needs to be some sort of respectable run game going on. 60 yards against the worst running game in the league is bad.
Was not an answer. Was not an answer, and it looked very bad. For the coaching staff and as the team as an offense as a whole. It seems that they're still lost. Even after all the work in the preseason, Derek, even after we saw Hard Knocks and the offense is still lost, and it's because of the offensive line. I think the skill positions are just fine for the Bears. Yeah. But if you can't block,
no,
nothing.
I mean, you're talking about the Colts through the first 2 games had given up 474 rushing yards.
Yes.
And the Bears couldn't do shiatsu with it.
Nothing.
So I don't know.
Why not Roschon? Why not? And I heard you mention him in the when you were breaking down fantasy with our earlier show on the Rise. And
thank you.
I'm wondering why they stopped, especially in that goal line situation. Roschon is clearly your power back. He's your biggest back in your running back room. He was having success against the Colts, but yet we keep going to Khalil Herbert and DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I mean, a total of 63 yards for him on the day for Roschon. He was clearly, every time he touched the ball, it looked different. He was much more explosive. I was watching some film and seeing some guys break down some stuff on Swift where he might have like a vision problem, like not like where he needs glasses, but just on the field, he sees this giant hole, and instead of maybe making a move and being able to extend it a little bit, he just runs directly at a defender, thinking he can blow right through him. Where he's not, he's not Derrick Henry.
No,
he's not like.
And the footing is off. The footing. You go back to the preseason big play where he got the screen. He tripped and fell. If you remember, if he keeps running, he goes to the house, and he tripped and he fell down. And I've seen that happening way too much also, where it's almost like he's not getting his footing down. He's not getting the explosion and push that he needs. And like you say, it does look different when Roschon is running the football. We got a caller on the line. I'm going to let this caller join on in. Caller, you're on the line. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Hello?
Hello. Can you hear us? Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Go ahead. You're on Wrmn 1410, home of Elgin. This is the truth about Chicago sports. What's your sports cats question?
Well, I don't really have a question. I mean, your American sports do interest me, but only from what I've seen on TV. I'm ringing you all the way from Queensland, Australia right now.
What's your name, hon?
From Queensland, Australia.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to the show from Australia. We welcome you. Thank you for calling in.
No rugby talk, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Talk
no
about
rugby
football.
Now, I'm Derica. Hey, Derek, isn't it funny? Our names are nearly the same.
Their names are nearly the same.
That's right. This is Derica from Queensland, Australia. And she's, if I'm not mistaken, you're a cricket fan?
Oh, I've seen cricket a lot. I'm not really a cricket fan.
Okay, more
But
rugby
my
then?
older brother used to love watching it all the time. But like we'd have cricket in the summertime, rugby league in the winter.
Gotcha.
And my son Bradley, he used to play soccer.
Oh,
And,
there we go. The other football.
Yeah, and but he doesn't play it now. He's now 34 years old and living in Brisbane.
Oh, man, thank you so much. We really enjoy these types of calls. These are the ones that warms my heart. I'm so glad that you listen to us and you follow us all the way from Australia. Please continue listening and supporting us. We love you, Derica. Have a great day. And that was all the way from Australia, boys.
Queensland.
Seems like you got a fan, Derek.
There you go.
As a matter of fact, Derica called in on our very first show of On the Rise.
Yes, sir.
And she was actually the second call behind you.
Yes. Look at that. See, we're blowing up every day, boys.
Love it.
Now, as we were recapping this horrible game, which I don't like to say must win so early, but as we get ready to complete this first quarter of the season with the game against the Rams tomorrow at noon at Soldier Field, you have to ask yourself, will this come back and bite the Bears down the end? Because the thing about it, the schedule is not going to get easier as we get deeper into it. And if you couldn't run against a Colts team that two other teams just absolutely ate apart, that doesn't bode well for the rest of the season. And if you remember when I told you last week, Derek, about our source that does not want to be quoted, former Bears coach, he said there's not enough talent on this line. And Nate Davis followed suit with being benched. And that's a real problem right there because Nate Davis was supposed to be a starter. You don't pay $10 million to a guy to sit on a bench with a fake injury. And so now what you got, when you got injuries, which has forced Coleman Shelton to start because he wasn't supposed to be the starting center. And that's something that people have to remember also. Yeah. We're judging this offensive line as if they have all their complete parts. And I'm going to tell you right now, from watching Bears football for many years, period, from Jeff Saturday to Olin Kreutz, Dawes, you have to have a really competent center in the NFL if you want your offensive line to flow. Yeah. See, the offensive line is different than skill positions. Yeah. DJ Moore can have a great game. It doesn't matter if Caleb's struggling. As long as I beat my guy and I get open, get me the football. Yeah. But when you're an offensive line, you roll as one unit. So if one guy's struggling, it makes it look like everybody's struggling. And one of the biggest issues with the Bears is that it's not so much that they're making mistakes all at once. That's the reason why they're ranked 26, which I still think is a joke because I feel like they should be dead last. But the reason why they're ranked as 26 is because the mistakes happen individually at separate times. First down, Davis makes a mistake. Next second down, Wright makes a mistake. Yeah. Third down, Shelton makes. It's not a collect. It's individually through, and that's what's killing the Bears more than anything. Yeah. Is that right there? They get a big first down, false start, coming back. That happened 2 times against the Colts? That's unacceptable play that you can't have with a rookie quarterback in an offense that's trying to find their identity.
And like you said, a center, that's the captain of the offensive line. That's the guy that takes care. He's going to point out to you, okay, he's blitzing. That's the mic over there. Certain, different teams, maybe the quarterback also takes the round, but that's your main point right there. That's the whole thing. You need an interior line that's fantastic, especially again, that's the leadership role right there. Overall, like you said, just to get back a little bit. Again, so it's the second half of the season when they play all of their division games. Right now, on paper, Minnesota is like the scariest defense to go up against. You got to be able to run against I don't know. They don't even have Danielle Hunter anymore.
If the Bears play Minnesota right now, they get dog walked.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because the fact is that the defense, as good as it is, they have to have rest.
Yes.
They have to have rest. If you look right now, currently, at the defense is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. I was going back earlier before the season even started when I had was talking with Rico G was joining me on the show. We talked about it. If the Bears defense only allowed 20 to 24 points a game, the Bears would have a chance to win pretty much every game. And so far that has held true. And so you have to ask yourself, though, you can't keep putting the defense in these short field positions. You can't keep making them rush back out on the field with short rest. You have to get to a point where you sustain some drives and allow the defense to regroup and be at its best when they get back out on the field. So I feel like these games are very critical against the Colts, the Rams, the Panthers, and the Jaguars for you to figure it out. You need to figure it out now, because if you don't, once you start playing the Patriots, who are a lot better than people thought, Green Bay, Vikings, and the Lions, and then the 49ers in a 5-game stretch, you could find yourself easily losing all 5 of those games if you don't solidify that offensive line in a running game.
Well, if they lose to the Patriots, I'm out completely. Like that is a dog. That is just an awful team.
Are they though?
Yes.
Because Gerard Mayo looks like he's coaching his tail off.
No, he's actually making some very poor decisions in my opinion.
As opposed to Eberflus?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
absolutely.
I'm shocked because I thought he was making the worst decisions.
I mean, if you're going to put in Drake May, and I understand you're already losing that game, why not actually give him an opportunity to score?
Why not let the kid play?
Yeah,
period?
I mean, call a timeout instead of, again, 20 seconds on the clock. Yeah, again, game's out of reach, but still, give him some confidence, give him some tape, and he just does nothing. I mean, that defense is fine, but again, in my mind, that offense for the Patriots is.
So did he come from the school of Eberflus? Because I'm going to tell you right now, that guy is on the fence for me. And I have been saying it when the season ended last year. I pushed for Jim Harbaugh. I did. I'm not ashamed of it. And I'll tell Coach to his face. And if he doesn't like it, too bad, because this is the truth about Chicago sports. We're not here to tell lies.
Oh, I think we all wanted Harbaugh. I know I did.
I
would have been fine with it.
I would have been totally okay with it if they had moved on from Eberflus. Now, they chose to stay, and I get it. There's a lot of love in the locker room for the players. Play hard for Eberflus, and that's something that we cannot look over.
No.
But at the same time, when I see a guy, when people on the sideline holding up 1, then he's holding up 2, and you're the head coach, man. You make the call. You should have known as soon as you scored that touchdown, Caleb, we're going for 2. You have a rookie quarterback. Don't expect him to understand the moment. You're the head coach.
Yeah, and that's coming off of the touchdown to Odunze.
Yes.
And at that point, you should already know that you're going for 2. Caleb should know that they're going for 2. Everyone in the stadium thought that they should be going for 2. And I know I was doing, what are you doing? You're and then you got to burn a timeout. Holy hell. I mean, so there's that aspect of things. But you brought up Jim Harbaugh for a brief second. You know for a fact that if Harbaugh was the coach for the Bears, obviously an offensive-minded guy, this offensive line would be a hell of a lot different from what it is right now. Yeah. Just, plain and simple.
No, and my problem is also with Waldron, because so you got to understand, it's not like he wasn't the play caller for Seattle last year. He was calling the plays for Seattle. And now I get it. He likes to air it out. And that his track record is proven on that. He's not big at committing to the run. But guess what? You don't have Geno Smith, Shane. You've got a kid that has played 3 NFL games. You got to find a way to commit to that run. And I get it that the line isn't blocking the way you would like. Yeah. But these games are not blowouts. Caleb had no reason to throw the ball 52 times last game. The game was not out of reach.
Considering the fact that the Bears' offensive line sucks, and the fact that Caleb did come away with 363 yards, I mean, granted, like I believe it was like 47 yards on that Hail Mary at the end of the first half. Even if you take that away, he still throws for over 300 yards. No, I get it. But what I'm saying is, like, I'm surprised he got that many yards passing because the Bears' offensive line is so bad. I think we're finding out that Caleb was the real deal and the offensive line is not. Yeah. And I think that's really what it's coming down to, is that even though he is a rookie, this kid has come to play.
He's not afraid of the moment. He's willing to step up. He's willing to go for it. But you got to protect a young kid that doesn't know all the exotic looks that he's going to get from these NFL defenses that he has not ever seen. Yeah. And he's leaning on veterans on the team to step up on offense and help out. And that has to start right there with that front five.
The progression from week 1 to week 3 already is just amazing. You can see it in every aspect. So I absolutely love it.
Those touchdown passes to Wrmn and then to Cole Kmet was beautiful.
Yeah.
And exactly what we're looking for. And I know there's still been a lot of hubbub because Justin Fields is 3-0 and oh man, we let Justin go. What do we listen?
I don't think Justin's 3-0. I think the Steelers defense is 3-0.
I'm going to tell you right now.
Top five.
If Justin played in that game, Justin would have been sacked maybe even more than Caleb, and I promise you he would not have thrown for 300 yards.
Yeah, probably.
I promise you that. I can promise you Justin would not have thrown for 300. He might have thrown 2 touchdowns. He might have got you 200 and maybe got maybe 70 on the ground, but he was not going to put up 300-some yards through the air.
No.
So this whole thing that, holding on to this narrative that, I loved Justin. I loved him. I was glad he was on the team, but I'm okay with him being gone because I do feel like we did upgrade at quarterback, and you could see it. It's very evident, and just watching his progression when he drops back the pass, watch how he reads the field. Look at the touch on his passes. It's different. You can tell it's different from night and day, from him quarterbacking to Justin quarterbacking.
Yeah.
And like you said, in the Pittsburgh situation, that's definitely more team and scheme.
Absolutely.
It's more team and scheme than just Justin.
100%.
And one of the nice change of paces, or one of the things that I think Shane Waldron and maybe Justin Fields are kind of figuring out, they got Cole Kmet involved. The first 2 games for the Bears going up against Tennessee and Houston, he was only targeted a total of 6 times.
Pedestrian.
Only 6 times. But in the game against Indy, he was targeted 11 times, came away with 10 receptions for 97 yards and a TD.
He's a productive player. He was the second most productive player on the Bears last year.
Which is why you gave him that big dollar contract.
Yes. The kid can block, and he can pass catch. That to me is just so special, and he's a big time target in that red zone. So I just think that it's really nice that now we are starting to see Cole come out. The Roma Doomsday connection starting to happen. And here's the funny part: DJ Moore's still making catches. like if you look at DJ's stat, DJ's still putting up numbers, man. He's still making catches. He hasn't gotten the tutties yet, but he's still out there making key plays for us. So I mean, are we as bad as some have written us off? No, but we're still not in no place where we can feel comfortable because we know that it looks shaky still. And I think that's the biggest problem with all fans out here is that what we see, we know this is shaky. The floodgates can break open at any time if this offensive line can't sustain and be allowed to allow the offense to sustain drives to make that defense be able to rest and then come back out on the field and attack.
I haven't been able to see a healthy Keenan Allen either, so I think that's a huge factor, especially with him. Keenan Allen leads the league since he's been drafted in 3rd down conversions. I mean, for a rookie quarterback, that's all the world right there. And it's, again, the idea that you can throw a ball you can throw to Keenan Allen and he will catch. It's much more different than if you had like a rookie wide receiver out there who's going to need the timing. He can throw it to a small window, and Keenan Allen's going to get the job done.
Allen is going to get the job done. When we return from break, we're going to continue talking and breaking down Bears. We're going to switch over, transition to their matchup against the Rams tomorrow at 12 noon. This is a big game for the Bears as they get ready to finish out the first quarter of the season as we're here on WRMN 1410 AM in Elgin, Illinois. This is The Truth About Chicago Sports with your host, Marcus Mack. I'm joined by the Derek and Nick. What did we say your call sign is now, Nick?
No gimmicks, Nick Johnston.
No gimmicks, baby. Nick, no gimmicks Johnson. I love it. And once again, please, all calls are welcome. Call is 847-931-1410. Once again, that's 847-931-1410. Hear The Truth About Chicago Sports on 1410 WRMN Elgin, Illinois, as we are the home of all sports for the Fox Valley area. Come join us whenever you can because we love you all.
Discover the authentic taste of Italy at Mazziano's Pizza and Pastaria at Route 20 in Nestler in Elgin. There is one true fact of everyday life that never dulls: the simple pleasure of eating great Italian food. At Mazziano's, they'll make sure your dinner or lunch will be the best part of your day. Whether you have a taste for pizza or any of Mazziano's homemade Italian recipes like ravioli or lasagna, they can also cater your party. Enjoy it any way you like: delivery, carry out, or dine in. Visit Mazzianos.com.
Political party poopers got you down? Shake it off and join me, Dennis Sonar Green, every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m. on WRMN for A Political Talk Show, where we cut through the doom and gloom with a focus on America first, constitutional values, and a populist perspective that puts you, the citizen, at the center of the conversation. At WRMN, the talk of the town, we're not afraid to challenge the status quo and bring you the straight talk you need. Whether you're frustrated with the political establishment or looking for a clear, some nonsense analysis, this show has you covered. Tune in. Let's take on the issues together with a fresh, unfiltered approach. Catch us every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m. on WRMN, A Political Talk Show. WRMN, the talk of the town.
Keeping your car's coolant system in good shape with a regular flush is really important. Let the experts at Meineke Car Care Center at 376 Sundown Road in South Elgin remove your old coolant, preventing chemical buildups in your engine. Then they'll fill your entire system with new coolant to help your engine run smoothly and prevent rust and corrosion, increasing your engine's lifespan. To schedule your appointment, call 847-888-9644.
The lightest, fluffiest pancakes are calling your name at JoJo's Diner, 1935 West Gulf Road in Schaumburg. JoJo's has a huge breakfast menu featuring skillets, eggs Benedict, and so much more. Don't stop at breakfast. JoJo's also offers great burgers, sandwiches, and shakes. And for mouth-watering prime rib, try JoJo's for dinner. They have such a versatile menu. JoJo's Diner is family-owned and operated, and it's one of Schaumburg's best-kept secrets. Visit jojosdiner.com today.
This summer, get outside and enjoy a quick round of golf at the Twin Lakes Golf Course in Palatine. Twin Lakes features an executive 9-hole golf course with a driving range, cafe, and pro shop. Just starting the game, lessons are available. Take a couple of hours for yourself and stop at the Twin Lakes Rec area off Northwest Highway and hit the links. For a tee time, call 847-934-6050.
Like I said, I had my alarm set for 6. Straight up just didn't go off. I woke up.
Chicago defense attorney Mark Schieblo has co-authored the book titled DUI Jury Trial, which is a true story of a DUI case that he defended. The accused was an Illinois truck driver arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol. This book contains facts about the case from the date of the arrest up to the jury's verdict, and this nonfiction novel also includes the transcripts from the jury trial itself. The book DUI Jury Trial is now available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com.
Visit the Milwaukee County Zoo this summer to enjoy so many species of fun. Home to more than 2,200 animals, representing over 340 different species. The zoo educates, entertains, and inspires. Stomp back in time with the zoo's summer exhibit, Dinosaur Discovery, sponsored by Sendik's Food Market. You'll be astounded by the gigantic and scientifically accurate animatronic displays. Touch, feel, and learn about the role of predators in the ecosystem. Running through October 5th. Visit MilwaukeeZoo.org.
And welcome back to the show. We left off breaking down Chicago Bears' display of fealty in their loss to the Colts, 16-21. And now we're going to transition and talk about how we can move forward against the Rams. Derek, obviously, offensive line is a key, but give me one of the big keys that the defense is going to have to do to make sure we can try to secure this win against the Rams, as we know that they're missing Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp.
Okay, so they are actually, they're missing Kupp, they're missing Nacua, they're missing Avila, they're also missing Jackson. So I would say that the Bears' top 8 defense in the league is probably going to have a good time against the Rams offense, I would think. But considering the fact that you're going up against one of the better head coaches in the league that are going to game plan for what the Bears do, and in my opinion, he's much better than what the Bears are right now, much better than Eberflus and Waldron and all of that stuff. I mean, it's definitely going to be a guy playing chess as opposed to checkers.
Yes.
They're gonna block for their quarterback. They're gonna block for, oh Jesus, what the hell is his name again?
Stafford.
Thank you.
Stafford.
I can't believe it. And you played against the Bears for so long in Detroit. Totally and completely blanked on it. I think they're gonna run schemes that are gonna confuse the hell out of the Bears.
Yeah.
I do. And then it's just a matter of, can the Bears offense show up? It should show up. Hopefully. They should communicate better as what they've been saying all week long. But show me. Again, show me, because I don't believe anything these guys say.
Thank God Aaron Donald retired, right?
Oh, my goodness. This would be a field day for him, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
This would be a legacy game for sure.
Oh, my goodness. We're so lucky that guy left. It's like, hallelujah. Let me tell you.
Yeah, he'd be doing the whole, we going Sizzler. We going Sizzler.
Yeah,
you know how like they get chunks of turf out of he would probably be picking up chunks of Caleb Williams out of his helmet.
Oh my
it would have been that brutal.
Bad, yes indeed, that bad.
In my mind, they're gonna hand the ball off a ton to Kyron Williams. He's probably one of the best backs in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
Very young, moves just very versatile. I think exactly what you said. Sean McVay probably will coach circles around Matt Eberflus, so you're gonna have to be prepared for that. Even though Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua are going to be out, Demarcus Robinson and Tyler Johnson, again, these are not huge household names. They're good enough to get the job done because Matthew Stafford is a comparable quarterback who can still get it done. I would say, on paper, all these other big names, this, that, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, I would still confidently put Stafford on just about any other team, and you could say, all right, yeah, you could potentially make a Super Bowl run.
Yeah, and he's had success against the Bears. He's 12-9 all time against the Bears, but he's had his issues. The Bears have been able to get to him, and the one thing about Stafford, if anything else, if you pressure him, that is where if you can get pressure on Stafford, he will cough the ball up. And the Bears, with their ball hawking secondary, is definitely going to be opportunistic, and I definitely think that they could get a couple takeaways. The question is going to come down to, can the offense do something once the defense gets those said takeaways? And that's right there. That is my biggest question mark. I've got something for you guys. What did you think about Mercedes Lewis' comments, where he said that he felt like they needed to be coached harder? Here you had the most experienced guy on the team. He's clearly the old man in the locker room, the veteran, the most respected voice. And when interviewed and asked about the coaching, he said, we need to be coached harder. Was that surprising to hear that come from a veteran? Considering what the Bears and the transformation and all the pieces that they tried to put in place to make a comparable coaching staff, were you shocked by those comments?
No, honestly, no. A guy who's seen Mercedes Lewis has now seen this is 19th season, so he's seen 19 different teams essentially. Being on the Packers for however long he was, but you've seen 19 different groups of guys. You've seen all the rotations and all like that. It makes sense coming from a guy like this. And now I'm not gonna sit here and say, the Bears coaching needs to they need to get in there. They need to be the hard selves right there. No, it's not the case right there. But just in terms of maybe different things, maybe coaching up instead of maybe backing off, maybe that could have been the case. I think he has every right to voice this display of I'm not a fan of this. Maybe talk him up, get him in there.
And I just, like we were talking about earlier with the lack of trust in Eberflus and Shane Waldron. And it's kind of funny because I don't mention the defensive coordinator because I believe Eberflus is the defensive coordinator, even if though he has a guy on paper that is supposedly the coordinator.
Yeah.
That's just fluff talk.
Yeah.
Eberflus is the coordinator.
It's like having a vice president.
Exactly. Eberflus is the coordinator. Make no mistake about it. And, I see a team that has the potential, but I don't feel like they're getting the best out of them. When we sit and we ask questions like, why is Roshan not getting enough play? Why was Cole Kmet not involved in the first 2 games of the season? How come they couldn't figure out whether to go for 2 or 1? Why did you go for a 4th and 1 option play instead of kicking the field goal? These things fall all on coaching big time. And so, I am very much right now on the outs with the Bears coaching staff, but that doesn't mean that they can't bring it back home.
Yeah.
They still can find a way. This is only 3 games in, but the thing that worries everyone is that when you hear a statement like that from Mercedes Lewis, it's like, well, does this coaching staff have any idea even what's going on? And you got a young rookie quarterback that needs good coaching. Yeah. I've always felt like Eberflus was the coach to hold the plays rather than the coach is going to take you to the plays. And what are we doing then? Is this just another wasted season? And that's what I'm sick of. I'm sick of the cycle of suck. I'm sick of the horrible coach pick, which leads to players not being prepped right, which leads to lack of development, which leads to a rebuild all over again.
Yeah, and definitely sick of the suck. And if the Bears don't get right in the upcoming 3 games, I'm along the lines with Nick on this one. The Bears season's going to be a complete and total disaster. It's going to be a wash because after Jacksonville, which is the 3rd game, they go on their bye week. Yeah. And they're also coming back from London. Yeah. After Jacksonville. Then they got the hardest
then they're hitting a stretch
of
actually a 6-game stretch, which is going to include Packers, Vikings, Lions, 49ers, Vikings again, and then the Lions again. All these teams were playoff teams last year and potentially could be playoff teams again this year.
And that Lions game that's on Thanksgiving, right?
That's a Thanksgiving game, and then they're going to come back and play the Lions again 3 days before Christmas. Yeah. So Merry Christmas to us.
There's a stretch for the Bears where they play 3 games in 11 or 12 days, and it's just again that's the back half of the season too.
It's the Vikings and then the Lions game. They play the Vikings on the 16th. They turn back around 6 days later, and they're playing the Lions.
Yeah.
The funny thing about that is you read off all those games, and right now I'm thinking the easiest game out of that is the 49ers.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. How the hell did this happen?
How did that talk about a turn of an upside downer that is, right?
Oh, boy.
Where the 49ers might actually be the break for the Bears. And, I tell you this much. People can say whatever they want about players needing to perform on the field. Man, coaching matters, man.
Yeah,
coaching matters. Look at Malik Willis. That guy was wrote off by the end. The Packers picked him up on a bargain buy. I think they drove by the side of the road and was like, oh, hey, you know what? We need a backup for Jordan Love. You want to come to Green Bay? And he rode a bicycle up there. I'm telling you, the dude was on the endangered species watch. They literally had a sign saying, have you seen this man? And all of a sudden now, comes off the bench and got the Packers rolling. That's coaching. Because make no mistake about it, Malik Willis didn't become some great talent. He's still an average quarterback.
That's all LaFleur.
So we got a guy that they're saying is a generational talent, and yet he's getting tossed around the field like a rag doll. No improper combination of personnel. Horrible, questionable play calling. What's going on?
Am I out of bounds to maybe put a little blame on Ryan Poles in the sense that...
No, you are not.
In the sense that, well, he feels like he's a little too... what would be... He's too loyal. He's a little too loyal to a couple names.
Let's go there. I'm glad you said that, Nick. Did you see the Hard Knocks?
Yeah.
Just like me. I thought that was very, very pivotal when he was cutting the safety Adrian But I know his name was Adrian. I'm sorry for butchering your name, brother. I apologize because you played excellent in the preseason. And you saw the emotion that he had letting this guy go. You see how they held on to Velus Jones, who's now been inactive for 2 weeks. Why did you keep him on the roster then? He comes up the first game, he fumbles, and you haven't seen him since. So, yeah, we do need to question Ryan. And we'll give him his flowers first.
Yes.
We'll give him his flowers first. DJ Moore, great move. Drafting Wrmn Doomsday, great move. Okay, bringing in Caleb, great move.
I mean, fleece of the century.
Bringing in Caleb.
Just going to say that.
Re-signing Cole Kmet to a team-friendly contract. Re-signing DJ to a team-friendly contract. Re-signing Jalen Johnson to a team-friendly
Montez
contract.
Sweat, too.
Montez Sweat trade. So I'm going to give flowers.
Yes.
But now... He
has so much rope right now.
But now let's flip it.
Yeah.
The Nate Davis signing, horrible. Colton Shelton being brought to this team on a bargain buy, horrible move. Why did you draft Doug Kramer? He hasn't even seen the field.
Nope.
He's supposed to be a center on your team, yet he doesn't play. So why'd you draft him? That's unposed too, because he drafted that guy. Why are we drafting guys that don't play? What is that about? And then we keep him on the roster just to keep him on the roster?
Yeah.
Tyler Scott, can he play? We don't know. He hasn't seen the field, but you drafted him last year in the 4th round.
They like DeAndre Carter all of a sudden.
You drafted a punter.
Yeah.
Talk about how cocky could you be about your roster that you would draft a punter? And make no mistake, he's average. I ain't seen nothing special from him. He was supposed to be pinning teams inside the 5.
Is he not second in punting? I thought he was.
He's doing good, but it's nothing special though, Nick, and that's the whole thing. We're seeing just average punting. You could get average punting with a 6th-round draft pick. If you're gonna pick a punt in the 4, I want to see the ball being pinned inside the 5 every time you kick it.
And go ahead.
Go ahead, Nick.
No, go for it.
The thing that kind of rings in my head over and over again, like one of those songs that you can't get out, is Poles on Hard Knocks, or Poles doing an interview somewhere. I'm pretty sure it was Hard Knocks before the season started for the Bears, and him touting, this is the best offensive line that we've had. And I was like, oh goody, finally something. This is and coming off of a 7-9 season. Now you got a generational talent in Caleb. You got the wide receivers. You got the weapons. You got the best offensive line that you already had. Man, talk about shoveling a bunch of shiatsu.
Yes. And here's the thing. I looked at it. They didn't change. You realize the Bears did not change much on the offensive line. They switched really one position.
Yeah.
Center. That should not have turned this line like this from changing one position. The problem is not enough work in the preseason. Nate Davis came back completely out of shape and ill-prepared. Braxton Jones has been figured out. The NFL has figured him out that he does not have the strength in his lower base and he could just be overpowered. And that's what you see now. You see him being overpowered on that left. And that goes back to having this superior feeling where you got a 5th-round draft pick protecting your generational talent's blind side. When you took a guy in the 3rd round, Karen Amagaji, who was hurt. Yeah. Why? You couldn't find a player that was healthy at the offensive tackle in the 3rd round that could maybe help you just in case Braxton Jones wasn't the guy? Because let me tell you something. After 3 years now, he's not. And everybody wanted to get on, and actually I take that back, it's 4 years now, because Braxton was drafted with Justin. A lot of people forget that little part. So now after 4 years, you gave up on Justin, who was your 1st-round draft pick, but you still got a 5th-round guy in there left tackle. Does that make sense? Please explain to me, Nick.
No, that doesn't make any sense. To not answer your question with a question, but where's the Bears' nastiness come from? Like who's the guy on the team that's like, hey, I'm sick of getting pushed around. I'm gonna do the pushing. Hey guys, let's go do something.
Let's go.
Because I don't see. I mean, to maybe a poor example just because he's a bad human being. But Richie, where's a Richie Incognito of
Seriously,
the Bears?
where's that bad boy on the look? You don't even have to be Richie. Make no mistake about it. Mongo was the man on the Bears.
Yes.
If you wanted, if it was going to be a fight, if it was something, Mongo was right there to get down and dirty. Okay, he was that guy for the Bears. And you don't have to be Richie Incognito, which maybe went a little bit too far with his hazing and antics. But get no mistake about it, he was a nasty dude. And let me tell you something that always makes that offensive line a little bit better when you got that nasty dude in there. And I thought Tevin Jenkins was that. But see, my problem was with Tevin Jenkins, and this is where, the truth about Chicago sports kicks in. Nobody talks about how sensitive he is.
Yeah.
If you go back, when the Bears originally drafted him and they asked him to switch from offensive tackle to guard, he shut down. He almost quit on him. Mm-hmm. He got all of his feelings. He got all emotional. They had to actually send him to therapy. They had to send him to a psychiatrist. They had to send him to a sports doc to get his mind right. And now what you see now this season, so you say, Marcus, why'd you bring that up? Because it's a contract year for him. And I believe he's in his feelings because the Bears didn't re-sign. They told him, we'll talk about it at the halfway point of the season because you stay injured all the time.
Yeah.
Prove to us that you can stay healthy, and instead of him having the, I'm going to show you. No, he's whining now. Yeah. He's whining. And you can see it his play on the field. He's playing tentative. He's not the same Tevin Jenkins he was the last 2 seasons. He's getting pushed around and pushed over, something we didn't see for the 2 seasons before. This guy's not changed. It's not a different human being. It's the same dude that was kicking butt last year. But all of a sudden now he's playing like a mouse.
Yeah. I mean, if we're talking if I need guys on the Bears, I gotta fight. I'm in a fight. I need the guys from the Bears. I can't confidently take anybody. Nobody. I mean, what am I gonna take the guy that paints his nails? Am I gonna take the guy that's on a podcast and Jalen Johnson spilling secrets? Or
who is that guy that say, hey, you want to fight? Let's fight. The Bears don't really have that yet, and maybe somebody will grow into that over time with them. But right now in this current roster, and you gotta remember, it is the Bears' philosophy to have good guys on it. They like great character. That is something that's been a Chicago Bear philosophy going back to Papa Bear, which is why Sweetness was on our team, which is why Mike Singletary. They look for guys of high character. So it doesn't surprise me that there's not a lot of nasty on the Bears, but you still need at least one.
Yeah.
The one guy that I would, and the last time that the Bears went to the Super Bowl, Olin Kreutz.
Nasty.
He was a nasty MFer.
Black belt. They say nobody wanted to fight. No. Brian Urlacher was quoted as saying, I wouldn't even touch that dude.
Yeah.
They said Olin could break bones quicker than you could even move.
Well, and the one thing that and forgive me if I'm misquoting you, Mr. Kreutz, because I'm going to put that Mr. in front of it. Mr. Kreutz was quoted as saying, if he didn't get the opposing guy to fight him, or want to fight him by the end of the game or whatever, he wasn't doing his job.
Yep. Wasn't doing his job.
And I'm paraphrasing there.
And now, as we continue to break down Poles' mistakes, we have to bring up the Claypool thing. The Claypool thing cannot be forgotten. You know what I mean? We know that they've moved past it, but he dropped the ball on that. He dropped the ball, bringing Claypool in, trading for him. It was a horrible move, and it came back to bite the Bears.
Yeah.
That should just goes to show you, I mean, from the organization, from the Steelers, anytime they're like, no, we don't want that piece.
You need to get your eyes.
Then you're like, no, we don't want them either. It could be anybody.
Oh, you want Justin Fields? Oh, Shiatu.
Yeah, exactly. They wanted him.
And here's the sad part about that. This goes back to Ryan Poles getting in his feelings about players. I don't care what nobody says. He did Justin a favor. He traded Justin to the team that Justin asked to be traded to. Make no mistake about it. Justin wanted to play for Mike Tomlin. He asked could he be traded there, and he accommodated him. Yeah. A 6th-round pick for a guy that's starting? Come on, bro.
I hope he keeps starting. He'll move up to a 4th.
Come on. He wasn't that He wasn't. You go look at his numbers from last year. Justin's numbers are actually pretty decent. Okay, so no, a 6th-round pick. Yeah, no, that was a favor. It was like, hey, okay, this the team you want to go to. Pittsburgh's only offering me a 6th conditional 4th. Fine, I'll accept it. I don't believe for 1 second that there was no higher draft picks for that kid. I don't buy that. I don't buy that there wasn't at least a third round being dangled out there for him.
Yeah, no, it's a tough look when him and Mac Jones go for the same exact thing. So it's a tough look right there for sure.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. So, Poles has had his mistakes. And like I said, that's why I started out by saying, let's give him his flowers first, because I think that that's important. He has done a lot of great moves for this roster. When he took this team over, they were bloated over the cap. They had a bunch of veterans that were underproducing and making a bunch of big bucks, a.k.a. Khalil Mack. And he had to come in and tear this whole thing down. And he did that. And he has rebuilt this roster very well. The defense is back being monsters of the midway, which is something we always love in this town. But there has been mistakes along the way. And these mistakes have cost the Bears, including the mistake of whether he was forced to do it or whether he chose to do it. I believe it was a mistake hiring Matt Eberflus.
Yeah, as of right now, it could be that case. Matt Eberflus's seat is
Hot and
more, yeah,
hot and hot.
It's definitely not. Yeah, it's definitely not cold.
My buns are
yeah,
hot buns.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's hot to the touch for sure.
Yes,
needs to get some wins. That's for sure the thing. Healing's going to solve everything, or winning's going to solve everything.
Winning solves everything. You get back to 500, all of a sudden it looks different against the Rams. You drop this game against the Rams, and like I say, remember, this is the first quarter, right? So now when we get to that second quarter of the season, which is going to be these next pivotal 4 games, which we're talking and saying, hey, the Bears got to get these. And that's the Panthers, Jaguars, Commanders, and the Cardinals. So when they get to that second quarter, you want to be 2-2. You need this game against the Rams. Yeah, it's 1-3 coming into these. Now you're limping. 2-2 coming into these next 4 games. You're feeling strong. You're like, hey, we're 500. We're not that bad. You know what? We had some hiccups, but we're moving along. You come into these next 4 games 1-3, you're questioning everything. You're questioning everything. You're questioning your staff. You're questioning your players. So this is definitely a get-right game for them against the Rams. Make no mistake about it. This is definitely a get-right game. And that's what I want to see the Bears do. Get right. Find a way to run that football. And here's the biggest problem with Poles and the Bears staff, if anything. Just because I pay you now, I have to try to get some. It doesn't always work that way. Sometimes you have to do exactly what you did with Claypool and say, you know what, this ain't working out. We got to cut bait. If it's not working out with DeAndre Swift right now at running back, just go with the guy that is. Because this running game has got to pick up. You got to get some pressure off this young quarterback, and we got to start sustaining drives.
Sure. And, oh, man. I had a thought, and then I lost it.
Trust me, I'm pretty sure it was something we want to destroy these guys.
Currently, the Bears are favored by 3 points, which
they should be. They should be, considering all the injuries, considering the Rams' defense is not that good.
Hey, I found it.
There you go.
There we go.
Okay, so obviously, we're not going to find a Kurt Warner in a grocery store.
No.
So, which means we're not going to find that offensive lineman in a grocery store.
You can find Chase Claypool probably at Kroger.
Right, you can find Chase Claypool probably.
Yeah, but we don't want. We obviously don't want him.
No.
But I mean, we don't need. I mean, where's that offensive Hall of Fame lineman in the grocery store?
He's in college.
Yeah,
he's in college right now.
Someplace else, because the Bears sure as hell can't seem to find him.
No, they cannot.
Or he's on like a farm in Minnesota, just husking hay
over his
nothing to do.
Just waiting on the Bears to call. Right? Oh man! When we return, we're going to continue breaking down Bears. We should be joined in by Rico G in the call-in line. Hopefully, I'm looking forward to that. So we're going to try to get that set up when we come back. Once again, this is the Truth About Chicago Sports on WRMN 1410, Studio 14 in Elgin, Illinois. We welcome all callers. The Derek is looking so forward to talking to you at 847-931-1410. Once again, 847-931-1410. As we're also joined by Nick. Once again,
Nick No Gimmicks Johnston.
Nick No Gimmicks Johnston.
Ruff the Crime Dog, and I need you to help me take a bite out of crime. Counterfeit products are popping up everywhere. Fake sneakers, fake cosmetics, and even fake pills. Crooks are selling counterfeit versions of just about everything. Last year,
back to the show. This is the truth about Chicago sports with your host Marcus Mack, and I'm joined by the Derek and Nick. We are in studio at Elgin, Studio 14. This is WRMN 1410, and let's go. So I'm going to start this next segment off, but I got to get something off my chest. And you guys know what time it is? It is time for the Mac Attack. And now it is time to attack Nate Davis. You know, good, sorry lineman who stole money from the Bears only to come to Chicago and sit on the sideline and watch football just like the rest of us. You don't want to play football. You just want to think that you can. And I'm going to tell you what, Nate Davis, I'm sick of you. You put Justin Fields on the line last year, and now we bring in this young QB to try to make our team rise to playoff stats, and you show up fat, lazy, and happy with your paycheck. Well, guess what, buddy? That doesn't cut it at right guard in the NFL. And we got tired of seeing your butt get whooped. The coaching staff got tired of seeing your butt get whooped. And now you're sitting on the bench collecting $10 million to hold a clipboard. Nate Davis, you stink. And let me tell you something, sir. We can't wait to get you out of this town next year. And I hope that you're not on an NFL roster anytime soon, because nobody, and I mean nobody, needs to ever pay you money to just sit and watch football like the rest of us. And this has been the Mac Attack on Nate Davis.
Wow.
Woo! Oh,
Do you feel lighter?
demons have
feel
been exercised.
Wow. You might almost be like Stacey King bringing the hot sauce on
Man,
that one.
I was sweating a little bit on that.
Louisiana, or I'm sorry, where were you last week?
Oh man, Mississippi, baby.
Mississippi hot sauce. That
got my head hot there.
It's gonna for practice report. It's gonna say Nate Davis did not practice. Why? It's gonna say Mac Attack in between.
I mean, but you know, I was fed up with him last year, and when they signed him, and they were saying coming out of preseason, they were saying, oh, well, the word is out of Tennessee, this guy doesn't like the practice, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, who doesn't? Okay, I get it. Look, hey, I'm a big lineman, I carry a lot of weight. Maybe I don't want to, I can understand that a little bit. But then when it came to game time and you look like trash, well, then it's like, well, maybe you need to practice, buddy. Because I don't care. Look, Dennis Wrmn didn't hardly practice worth nothing. He hung out with Carmen Electra and he partied in Vegas. But guess what? When it was game time, that guy grabbed you 20 rebounds.
Yeah.
20 rebounds.
He said, Hulk Hogan, we gotta relax. I gotta do my NWO stuff, but I gotta go back to MJ.
It's time for me to go to the United Center and put in work. Okay? You could be aloof. You could be lazy. You could be non-committal. But guess what? When it's game time, I expect you to be one of the nastiest people on that field. And yet, he's pedestrian as my grandmother. And the sad part about it, he's happy. You don't see any type of, if I had lost my starting job when I'm getting paid starter money, I'm losing it. I'm complaining to the media. I'm saying I got treated unfairly. This is wrong. How can the organization, you know why he's not saying a word? Because he knows the Bears are right. He does not want to play. He doesn't. He got paid, and he's just happy going home every day to his family and sitting back and saying, well, I gave him my best. No, you didn't. You didn't give it your best. And now you've been replaced by a guy that shouldn't even be starting on most NFL rosters. And I'm sorry, Matt Pryor, I like you, but let's be real. There's a reason why you were on the bench. Because if you were that dude, you would have been that dude. And don't ever forget that, guys. Don't ever let a team try to tell you, oh, this next man, nah. It's next man up when you're desperate. Because if you were the dude, you would be the dude. That's just how it goes. Yeah. The NFL don't got guys sitting on the bench that can't play. That can play. Well, he can play, but we're just gonna leave him on the bench. All right, he's one of the best players on our team. Nah, we're not gonna play him. Nah, it doesn't work that way.
No, Nate Davis, it is a whole mess. And again, it could be one of those things where I don't want to question like their reason for playing or not wanting to, or just their overall effort or lack of it. But right now, it's just everything is pointing in that direction of what you just said. It's just he just doesn't look like he wants to be there. It's really tough to say. It's just you should have a passion for the game that you're playing, that you love, and apparently it's just not there right now. Again, there could be all sorts of things mixed in there and in between, but yeah, it just looks uncommitted. Like you said, coming in not conditioned, not in shape. It shows you right there, like what were you doing this whole
off season?
Yeah,
like you knew that this was going to be a pivotal season for the Bears. You knew they were leaning on you to be a part of that offensive line in a pivotal position.
He's not a freelancer. Like, he knows when his next job is going to be.
He knows, and you still showed up ill prepared, and that really bothers me because it goes back, like I said, to last year when they paid him this money and he showed up ill prepared. And my thing is, that's fine. It happens. It's common in any sport for an athlete to get played and shut it down. I get that. I get that. He's not the first one to do it, and he won't be the last. But I'm not accepting it here. That's the problem. Yeah. I'm not going to let you come to this town and not do anything and get paid $10 million, and we're not going to destroy you on sports radio every chance we get.
It's just that idea that, if the goal is Super Bowl, if the goal is winning in any sort of way, and you have one piece that's like, I'm okay. It's always just that, the weakest link in the chain is going to break, and it's going to work. He could be that.
Yes.
In the case of Nate Davis, I could kind of see it being where he's done it all at a high level. He's been the man, the guy, and this being a case of, well, I could just toss my cleats on the field. I could toss my helmet or shoulder pads on the field, and I'm going to be able to play. And it's evident that he needs to put in the work. But he obviously he's not putting in the work. He's getting his ass kicked all over the place.
And I hate to play the what if factor, so the NFL, but am I wrong? Nate Davis, when he was a free agent, he was not the top offensive lineman. He was one of the top. Like, okay, we should give him, and him. Nate Davis should be one of those names in there. If only one other team would have reached and got him for a much higher price, it would have just been that much satisfactory just to see, like, okay, maybe it's not the Bears, maybe it's some other team, maybe it's just him. That would have been the case there, right there. But right now, yeah, I guess that would be the thing for me. I wish another team reached so they could deal with this headache and not the Bears.
yes, indeed. And Derek, you brought up a great point about Eberflus doing break. I want to elaborate on that because that was a really great thing that you brought up about Eberflus.
Okay, so my point with Eberflus was that he was brought in, obviously, as the head coach of the Bears. He was touted as the CEO. Now, what I mean by the CEO is he's going to cover all the aspects of the Bears football operations, players, well, that's polls, but all the playing aspect on the field. So defense, offense, special teams in that like. Obviously, he took over the defensive coordinating position or the play calling for the Bears defense. Now, you brought in the defensive, in title only, in my opinion, of the defensive coordinator position of Eric Washington. Now, Eric Washington, he was with the Bills, and he was the senior defensive assistant, defensive line coach in 2022. Got elevated a little bit with the Bills in 2023 to a higher position. So you bring this guy in, and legitimately he's a first-year defensive coordinator. But if he's learning from Eberflus, great, cool, the ins and outs of the Bears defense, and Eberflus was supposed to be the CEO of the team, and you're going and you're Eberflus and you're in the offensive meetings, it would behoove you, or I would think, because Eberflus is supposed to be such a highly respected defensive-minded guy coming over from the Colts, where wouldn't you be able to scheme up plans for the offense to where this will work, this won't work. Okay, see, they're doing this to counteract Odunze, Moore, Komet. So why don't we pivot and do something else? That is kind of like where I'm looking at where Eberflus, the CEO, should be helping out on the offensive side of the ball to make potentially the O-line better, the play calling better, the guys on the offensive side better. That's my thought. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Derek, I don't think he has the depth. That's the problem. I think that Eberflus is over his head. Like, as I pointed out earlier, the confusions on the sidelines, the questionable decisions, even going back to last year in that Denver game, which he lost. I still put that loss on Eberflus and coaching.
Yeah.
Okay? And so I think tremendous defensive coordinator. And I know it doesn't happen in the football world where a guy takes a lesser role. But I would love if for once somebody could get out of their ego and he could just say, you know what, this is bigger than me. I'm great for this team as the defensive coordinator. But you need to bring in a head. I mean, I would love that because you know what? It would be factual and it would actually help this team tremendously. But egos don't allow that. Not in the NFL. No. Oh, no, I'm a head coach now. I got the job. Well, guess what? You're not doing the job.
It's that. And, of course, if you saw the Hard Knocks, he got his wife pumped. Oh. Everything he did was just like, oh, isn't he just great? He got the Flus haircut.
Got the Flus beard.
The new clothes.
It was, so he's got a lot of people chirping in his ears like, oh, actually, everything you're doing is fantastic.
Right. Oh, yeah, you're the man. You're the man. But all I see is a guy that's still a neophyte coach that's looks like in his third year coaching, and he's going up against people that have more experience and are better equipped at this and maybe even have a better staff around them to help them succeed, because there are other coaches that come in. The kid down in Miami, young, but he's got a great staff around him. He does well. D'Amico Ryans down in Houston. This is his second year. Look at what he's doing with the time. He came in with a great, competent staff. He has a great feel for the game and great knowledge for the game. Eberflus has great knowledge of defense, and that's evident. And what it goes back to, a lot of people. Maybe they weren't paying attention, but it was pointed out in Hard Knocks. He played defense. So he was a defensive player. He understands defense inside out.
Under Nick Saban, of all people, in Toledo, at least.
He understands defense inside and out. He has no clue about offense, and he has no clue how to really be the CEO of the team. And that is, I think, a key point that you brought up there, Derek, is that about being the CEO of this team. And I don't see it. I'd see it being bigger than him. And these moments are definitely costing the Bears. And it could end up costing the Bears a playoff berth this year.
It's also when I'm looking back and I'm watching and I'm listening to press conferences and media, Eberflus, he doesn't rattle off when he describe oh, we're going up against the Rams this week, he's got this, that, and the other. He doesn't blow through and really deep dive on the players that he's going up against the next week like Mike Tomlin does.
Yes.
Like how it was
like how McDaniels would do for Miami.
Yeah. I mean even beyond D'Amico, not even just D'Amico Ryans, it was actually the general manager of the Atlanta Falcons who was like, oh yeah, just not only naming off the names, even past stats, where they went to college. He's like, yeah, I watched them down here. I watched them at the pro day here. He's just like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. What are you doing, Flus? Besides just watching the game and attacking some pieces, but it doesn't sound like his football knowledge is there where everybody else is like, oh, Mike Tomlin, when he wakes up and goes to bed, to the time he goes to bed, it's football. That's it.
But not only that, he's the coach. He's the head. He's got his thumb on that team from special teams all the way going to the people working in the cafeteria. That's the way a coach is supposed to be.
Yeah,
you got to have your thumb on everything.
I think the parking attendants also they have film with Tomlin.
I'm serious. Everybody is sitting there, but that is the difference. And going back when I asked that question, the concern with Mercedes Lewis says we need to be coached harder. Now, yes, that was in context to Shane Waldron, but Eberflus is the CEO.
Starts with Eberflus.
I cannot. It's amazing that he got a pass, but we fired Getsy last year. Like, to me, that's still kind of like, huh? Wait a minute.
Again, it's
what?
I think that's the Ryan Poles little loyalty. He's holding on to some people type deal, and just the idea, like, you don't want to just, don't want to pull it off too early. You don't want to give Caleb the same deal with Justin Fields had 4 offensive coordinators in 5 years. Don't want to do the exact same thing with Caleb.
Which is why everybody said if they were going to do it, they should have did it this offseason. Because if you were going to bring a new quarterback, new coach, because now you're married to Eberflus. You're married to Eberflus because of Caleb.
Well, that's the thing for sure.
Because if you get rid of Eberflus now Caleb has to get a new coach, potentially a new offense. That's the same thing you just did to Justin. Yeah. It wasn't good. A player needs a continuity to be successful, especially in the NFL, and especially a quarterback in the NFL.
No, with you saying that, I could still see going forward, if the Bears and Poles wanted to clean house,
just cut bait right now.
Go ahead, clean house. This way, it isn't Caleb's third. It will be Caleb's third offensive, progression.
It'll be a second.
Second?
Right. Yeah.
Well,
he's a rookie.
But I'm talking out of college, coming into the pros.
Right.
So it would be his third time. But going forward, got 3 years. 3 years of the same plays, same everything. Because, if you're going to do it, you're going to cut it down. You've already got the wide receiver weapons.
Yep.
You got Komet. Get rid of the O-line. You've got the top 8 defense in the league so far.
And they got most of their guys locked up until 2025, 2026.
Right.
So the next 2 seasons,
you're going to see some familiar faces.
You don't even need to be worried about free agency. Oh, guys are going to be leaving us. You got your key guys locked up for the next the next 3 years. You got your key guys locked up.
Yeah.
And of course, like it is with all the coordinators you see. Just got Shane Waldron this year. This is Eric Washington's second year?
Technically. Because I think he kind of came after the firing of the last DC last year.
So obviously, this is what happens. When you get new coordinators and it still doesn't work, there's only one other head you can chop off, that's going to be Eberflus.
That's it. The quarterback's already gone.
Yeah.
You got rid of the quarterback. You got rid of the other offensive coordinator. You can only keep chopping so many pieces before we finally get to the main source.
How many other directions can you point the finger before it finally gets to you, Matt? I'm not quite sure.
And I'm really, really, really wondering about that as well. And like you said, it's this loyalty to Eberflus, loyalty to Velus Jones, loyalty to guys that are not produced. I don't understand it. Hey, look, you work hard. You're a great person. Awesome. That's awesome. That doesn't win me football games. I don't care if you're the biggest jerk in the world, a.k.a. Mike Ditka. As long as you win me games, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
I'll let that slide.
I'll let that slide. I'll let that slide. And so, moving forward with this Rams game, that is one thing that I do want to see. I'm sick of saying Eberflus got outcoached. It's time for Eberflus to outcoach someone. And if that's not possible, then that's the real issue. Have we seen a game yet where we can definitively say Eberflus outcoached the other coach?
No. Not yet. And
even in the wins,
no.
Even in the win against the Titans, the first game, can we definitively say did Eberflus outcoach the first-year coach?
Hell no.
No. That's scary.
Marcus, you might want to cover your ears on this one because I'm pretty sure that Sean McVay is going to outcoach him this week. And the adjustments that he made against the 49ers.
Sick.
They had no business winning that game.
Sick.
They changed they changed everything that he previously did.
The guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he absolutely knows what he's doing. And I think once the first half goes by the wayside, there's going to be another game plan that comes out because he's a great in-game supervisor.
Yeah.
Great in-game changes.
Adjuster. Yeah.
Thank you, adjuster. The adjustments that he will make at halftime will come back and bite the Bears in the ass.
So how much rope does Eberflus have? If this team, let's say, let's hypothetical, after we get to the second quarter, they'll have played 8 games. They're at the halfway point. If this team is 3-5, do we continue this?
It's got to be a respect. Can it be a respectful 3-5?
It better be one heck of a respectable 3-5.
Okay, yeah. Again, just pulling it back. Like these losses have all been one score. They've just been ugly games on the offensive side.
From the offensive side, the defense has done their job. The defense has gotten sacks. The defense has gotten turnovers. Now, would you like to see more sacks? Of course. I mean, that's a given. You always want to see more sacks, more quarterback. But considering the Bears have had plenty of pressure on the quarterback. They have forced them into uncomfortable positions, and they have made the turnovers when they've needed to make those big plays. Now, it helped a lot playing Anthony Richardson, who I just think is at this current moment, a horrible NFL quarterback.
He's all of his plays are the big play, the 40, 50, 60-yard bomb. And me and my other buddy were talking on another show that we got. If you challenge him to throw between 5 and 20 yards,
good luck.
Yeah, I mean that's his accuracy is not going to be good enough. That's why he only completed 10 passes last week. He just looked confused against the Bears. I mean, he was just those interceptions were just like, why? Yeah, huh?
And then when the pressure came on him, you saw he couldn't handle it, and so I think that it's gonna continue again this week. It was nice to see Montez get on the books with a sack. I'll tell you who else has really shown something, man. Talk about Dexter. Wow, he's really come up and stepped up into that 3 technique exactly the way we were hoping that he could for the Bears defense. And I think that that's been one of the biggest differences. You look at Javon Dexter, he's got 2 sacks on the year already. He's been having a ton of pressures out there. He's got 10 total tackles, 2 for what's that? For loss. I believe he's got looks like 2 tackles for loss, maybe 3 tackles for loss that I'm looking at currently. And I'm just seeing a guy that's really playing better than he was last year. He's really stepped up. He's really made it solidified that interior of that defense. And so when I see a guy like that really stepping up and performing for the Bears, that gives me a lot of hope. There's a lot of hope that this defense will be able to hold and sustain for them. And even going against the game against the Rams, I think that the offense will come out sputtering. I'm not expecting them to come out with fireworks. I'm not. Show me that you can run the football. If the Bears can establish a play-action game, watch out. But until then, we're just... it's going to be, the defense is going to have to carry this game once again, I feel, and that's just something we cannot sustain by. When we come back from break, we're going to continue with our last segment here as we get ready to get our predictions, key matchups that we want to see out of the Rams and Bears. And this is The Truth About Chicago Sports on WRMN 1410. We're Studio 14 in Elgin, Illinois. Feel free to give us a call. Call-in line is 847-931-1310. Once again, that's 847-931-1410. We welcome all calls. The Derek would love to speak with you and hear your voice and answer any questions that you have pertaining towards Bears, Cubs, Sox, as we break it all down here on this big packed Fox Valley Sports Saturday at WRMN 1410. This is The Truth About Chicago Sports with your host Marcus Mack.
Agent.
Oh, Agent. And when we get back, we'll continue, like I say, break it down a little bit more Bears talk and predictions. And you guys aren't going to believe my prediction in this game. Be like, whoa. But yeah, I'm making a bold one. I'm making a bold one this game. So get ready when we come back. Perfect. 30 minutes. For the rest of college. I don't do a lot of college, but I'm gonna watch that. I'm definitely gonna watch that. I watch Notre Dame. I will watch it. I haven't caught them this year, like a full game. I've only seen a little bit, but I do watch Notre Dame. I enjoy it. Anybody else? I don't like it. Anybody like that, but I'll be watching that Alabama. That's gonna be a good one. I do miss Saban. I tell you, I never thought I'd say it, but I do miss Saban. Man. He added an extra intrigue to college football. Oh, the guy's so knowledgeable, it's disgusting. You see why he was as great of a coach as he was. The guy's football knowledge is just. He's actually a cool dude. Like you would think he's such this big hard ass, but if you really look at him, he's actually a really cool dude. Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you, he's got personality. like you find out after these guys retire, like they actually did have personalities. And I gotta remember your call sounded Nick. What do we say it is? It's Nick. Nick, no gimmicks, Johnston. Okay. Almost rock and roll. At 12 noon, Soldier Field, Bears, Rams. So now we get ready to look at this game here. And like I said, I don't like to use the term must win, but I feel like this kind of is. How do you see this game going, Derek?
I think you're probably going to be optimistic for all of us in here. I do not see the Bears pulling this one out. I don't. I think that I think their defense is going to get at the Bears' O-line, and until they prove me wrong, or until I see some evidence that they're actually going to come around, it's going to be a big-ass question mark. So with that being said, I think it's going to be probably about 24 to, I'll go 18.
24-18. I like that. I have to say that's a respectable pick. Once again, this is the truth about Chicago sports here on WRMN 1410. I'm joined in studio by the Derek and Nick No Gimmick Johnston as we're sitting there breaking down Bears and Rams. Please feel free to call 847-931-1410. We welcome your calls. Nick, give me, what are your thoughts on this game? How do you see it playing out?
Man, I mean, talking up the way that we have about the Rams and just kind of just blowing through, there's the way that Matt Eberflus might be attacking this game and seeing it, and just I'm leaning towards the Rams. It's tough. It's really tough to sit here and say that, but even with the injuries, like I said, you just a running back as powerful as Kyron Williams can help solve a lot of that right there for the Rams. Going up against a tough defense in the Bears for sure. To sit there and put a number on it, I'm expecting another weird, odd outcome for the Bears on the offensive side, followed by the Bears defense holding them to less than 20 points. So, so it could be like a 19-9 game.
Yes,
it could be something gross like that.
I could totally see that, definitely. And I actually was listening to ESPN earlier this weekend, who covers the Bears, Courtney Cronin, and she actually picked the Rams also, and she had a good logic behind it, where she was like, I picked the Bears the first 3 weeks, and that didn't look that good. Maybe going the opposite will give them some type of mojo to kick them into gear to get the win. And
a little reverse jinx action.
A little reverse thinking there. And I'm going to tell you, I mean, obviously, I'm one of the biggest fans. I'm always a homer, and, that's just who Marcus Mack is. But I'm also a truther. That's why this is the truth about Chicago sports. So the truth of it is, yes, the Bears more than likely are in danger. But my bold prediction, my hope, and I believe the Bears will pull this game out, as Caleb will come out and throw for 400 yards. Huge game, minimize the turnovers. I'm not saying that he's going to get a lot of protection. I just think that the scheme is going to be a little bit better. I think that Waldron now knows what he's dealing with in terms of the offensive line and his personnel and who are the playmakers and who are not. And if I see one more time the ball go to DeAndre Carter 3 times in a row, I'm going to be very mad. DJ Moore is on your team.
Yes.
DJ Moore is on your team, Shane. Okay, I don't want
to not be so doom and gloom.
Yeah, I don't want to Mac attack again.
Yeah, to not be so doom and gloom. The Bears have a route where they can get it done, just because you see where the Rams did struggle these past couple weeks, very early on against the Niners last week, and then just getting obliterated by Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. Maybe look at that Cardinals game. Look at how Kyler Murray was able to move around. Also integrate the idea that Caleb throwing outside of the pocket might be one of his strongest attributes.
Might be one of the safest attributes, considering how the pocket looks when he's in it. And so
they're already on the right move. They're just going to start from shotgun right away every single time. So
you might have no choice.
Yes.
and so my score prediction, I'm going to pick the Bears to win. I'm going to go out on a bold statement. Like I said, I'm picking them 27-14. Wow. I think the defense is going to stifle Stafford. I believe that the Bears, like I say, they've had success against. There is a blueprint on how to beat Matthew Stafford, and I love the fact that the Bears are on grass. The Bears have lost the last 3 times to the Rams. All of those games were at SoFi Stadium. The last 3 games have been at SoFi Stadium. The Bears have lost to the Rams. The Bears are on the grass.
Is this on Fox?
I really like that they're on grass.
It is on Fox.
It is on Fox.
The Bears are a Fox noon team.
Yes, they are.
That's who they are.
They are a Fox noon team. There's something about that
Did
Fox
I not
noon
say that
game.
last week about the Colts?
They show up.
Yeah.
I said that I don't like
it.
to play
on CBS.
No, they were on CBS.
If they're on CBS at 3:25, just don't even watch it. Then it's a loss.
It's a loss.
They'll probably end up wearing the orange jerseys. I don't know.
Order the pizza and kick back, because it's gonna be an L, huh?
Yeah.
Not a single stat to back that up either. It's just full feeling.
Just the eye test. Just the old eye test.
Go ahead, Derek. I'm sorry. I keep interrupting you.
No, it's a very good point. I think the Mac attack intro to the last segment that you did there, Marcus, I think it might have went to your head a little bit.
Yeah.
400 yards for Caleb.
Yeah.
27 to what?
Maybe I got it to them gummies. Maybe I got it to them gummies.
I don't know.
No. It was a long commercial break.
I will say this. I did hear this week that when the Rams are coming into the Central Time Zone, that the last 6 or 7 games, they're 0-6 or 0-7. So take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
I mean, their body clocks might be a little off, a little bit different, I'm not exactly sure. I'm sure they're already in town, getting acclimated to Chicago and everything. But I mean, so it's an out there stat, but it's still a stat.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll break it down for you guys. And here's my keys to how the Bears can achieve this right here. One of the biggest keys we've already talked about. You must run that ball. Commit to it. Give Roschon Johnson the ball. Stop playing with your shiny new toy, DeAndre Swift, and start giving it to your bell cow. Let's get some tough yards. Let's figure that out. Next key to the game, coaching. Figure out what you're doing before the game even starts. Figure out how you're going to play this game once it actually is on the field. You shouldn't be going by the seat of your pants on the fly. You should have an actual thing called a game plan. You ever heard of one of those? Yeah, a game plan. Yeah, how about we have one of those going into this game for the Rams? And my third key, it's time for the defense to show everyone who we really are. Yeah, we've been teasing. Yeah, the Titans got 17. Texans got 19, Colts got 21. It's time to show everyone who this defense really is. Smother and suffocate Stafford. I want at least 4 sacks as a team, and let's really get after this guy. And I think if those 3 things can happen, I believe the Bears can have a victory.
Those are definitely some good points. One of the things that I would say is when you're saying run the ball, it can't be out of the shotgun.
No.
Line it up in the I formation, pound that ball down their throats. Roschon Johnson is the way to go because Swift is going to be dancing all over the place, does not follow his blockers from what I can tell.
And he's not blocking really on there in the passing situations.
The other aspect of things, going for the defense, yes, I hope they show up. They should show up. They've kind of been showing up. And what I mean by kind of showing up is in the first 2-3 games, they've been getting gashed by the opposing running backs.
In the first half, especially.
So when Kyren Williams is doing his thing and darting all over the place and going through that defensive line, it is so infuriating and so maddening to watch.
We have to make the Rams one-dimensional. No doubt about it. And I know that might sound crazy because Matthew Stafford is probably the best quarterback in the NFC. And I don't think I'm going on a stretch saying that. But I believe that you have to get them one-dimensional and then let the dogs loose. Get after him, and then get after him some more. And if you do that, you're going to have a good chance. Because like you said, this has been a bend, don't break style of defense so far. But they haven't had that real dominant shutdown game. They have been gashed. There have been big chunk plays made on them. In every game, you could point out where there's been guys that have made big chunk plays, from Jonathan Taylor with his big run to Nico Collins with his big plays and for the Texans. There has been moments where the Bears defense has given up big chunk plays. Let's eliminate that this game. Let's really make them one-dimensional, focusing on Stafford, and let's just attack.
Yeah, and it's only I think those big chunk plays, the big touchdowns like that, only stick out because they're so far few between. I mean, it's exactly what you said. Just they're out there too much. They're gassed. So that's why, slip through the cracks. That's why the 29 or it was like a 29-yard rushing touchdown for Jonathan Taylor that happens. That's why Alec Pierce had another 40-yard reception. It's just they're out there, they're locking it down, but just one small mistake, one little blemish, and it sticks out way higher than it should. Just because.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And we got a caller. We got Rico G joining us. Rico G on the call-in line. Rico, you there?
Yep.
Rico, what's going on, buddy?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, you guys hear Rico? You guys got him in your ear?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Heck yeah, Rico. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Doing well, yourself?
Oh, not too bad. We're sitting there breaking down Bears and Rams. We're talking about the keys to the game. Rico, I know you're just jumping in, but give me your prediction of this game, Bears and Rams, 12 o'clock tomorrow.
Well, I think that I like the Rams, actually. I like this one probably to be like a 27-24 contest. Just the simple fact that the Rams, I think they're a two-dimensional football team. Just kind of listening a little bit to what you guys were talking about. And, I think the Rams are going to continue to press the front of the Bears. And I'm not saying that there's going to be a whole bunch of play action stuff down the field, but I feel like if the Rams can just keep it close, the experience of Matthew Stafford finds ways to make plays happen, much like what happened last week against the 49ers.
That's true. And yeah, I mean, that was definitely a masterful game from coaching and quarterback to be able to come back and defeat a top tier team like that. So we know the Rams are trouble, but they're vulnerable. And that's the key thing. The one thing that I keep looking at, Rico, and you tell me this, when it comes down to the matchups, do you feel like the Bears have better matchups against the Rams, or the Rams have better matchups against the Bears?
I would say on paper it would look like the Bears have better matchups. I would say just from the offensive standpoint, you would see the Bears and you would say that they should really dominate the Rams. And I'm talking about that they should go out there and do what the Arizona Cardinals did in week 2 and put up like 41 points. Just on the offensive end. And then just defensively, I would say that the Bears have a better unit than the Rams. But, the season, it's interesting because just like I said, when you look at the Arizona Cardinals, they just offensively, if I ask people to probably name 2 or 3 starters, or 4 starters, I should say, on the offensive end, most people probably don't even know. With the Bears, you could probably at least name 4 to 5 offensive players that could really make a splash impact in the game. And, I think the Bears have just got to try to figure it out. But they do have some matchup opportunities, but as you said before, you just can't be one-dimensional.
Yeah, if they can make the Rams, I truly believe if they can make the Rams one-dimensional, they really are going to have a shot. And I know the guys, they were joking me, Rico G, they said I got into those gummies because I said Caleb's going to throw 400 yards. But here's the flip side of it. The blueprint with the Cardinals against the Rams, Marvin Harrison went off. And I feel like Wrmn or DJ could have that same effect for the Bears. So, yeah, I may be getting in my feels a little bit by saying 400 yards from Caleb, but I'm not that far off either. If you really think about with the weapons like we discussed that the Bears have on that side of the ball, including Cole Kmet, who now has finally been unleashed. So if you look at that Cardinals starting offensive unit, which really only has McBride and Harrison, and now you flip it to the Bears offensive unit, which features Wrmn, DJ, Cole Kmet, a DeAndre Swift, a Roquan Johnson, a Gerald Everett, along with Tyler Scott and an injured Keenan Allen. Wow. Yeah. Right? Like on paper, this Bears offense is scary. The problem is the big guys up front.
That's if Waldron gets his head out of his ass.
Yes. Stop being cute. Stop being cute.
If Greg Dortch can get it done, I mean, why can't Keenan Allen or Wrmn?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. So no, those are great points right there. Rico, give me your score. How do you see the final score?
Well, initially I said it was going to be like a 27-24. I think I'd say +1 on that, so maybe 28-24. 23, somewhere in that area, but I still like the Rams awful lot. And then going back to I know it's 2 different teams, but when the Arizona Cardinals had that outburst against the Rams, I want to note this, that James Conner had 21 carries for 120 yards. Now, with the Bears offense, I think they have just really been, terrible as far as running the football. Just not good at all. And it's interesting that you guys talk about the offensive line because I believe Ryan Poles, when he was going into the NFL or trying out, he was an offensive lineman. Yes. So I think that it's interesting that one of the points of emphasis for the Chicago Bears is actually the front line. But, it's something that it takes time and, it is going to have to grow. But, they've done a fairly decent job for the most part in giving Caleb Williams time, and I think that he's actually looked, actually phenomenal, in my opinion. I mean, even though that they're 1-2, I know he's not doing the things that Jaden Daniels has been able to do with the Commanders. But at the same token, I think that, once again, I said this before last time I was on, that the fan base is going to have to be patient because he's just not going to come in and just automatically give you, 12, 13 wins or whatever you're expecting. Like, there's a lot of different moving pieces around him. And so, I mean, the Bears just have to be a bit more of a physical team. You have to be able to punch the Rams in the mouth up front. And I don't know if the Bears are going to be able to do it.
Well, and that's the thing I've always told people, because of the lack of preseason. The first 2 games of the season, to me, are the new preseason games. You see a lot of sloppy football, a lot of guys still trying to figure it out.
And we hear a lot of that from the coaching staff.
Exactly. Now we get to this 3rd game, right? That's supposed to be more of the new dress rehearsal. This is supposed to be now, okay, we got through the fumbles, now let's start. So now this 4th game, this is it. This is where we're going to know make no mistake about it, this is where we know who the Bears are. You're 4 weeks in now. This is your 4th game. You've had a chance to shake off any rust, any dust, and now we're going to see against the Rams. I believe we're going to see who they really are for the rest of the season moving forward. And if we see the deficiencies of not being able to run the football, if we see the deficiencies of not being able to get a passing attack down the field, we're going to know, this is going to be a long, long season.
Yeah. And to piggyback what Rico was saying, we have seen jumps in Caleb Williams' performance. From week 1 to week 3, he's gotten better. It's just a matter of, now what is the offensive coordinator going to do? What is the coaching staff going to do? Are they going to scheme better plays for him?
Exactly. And once again, thank you for joining the line. We got a new caller sitting here. We're going to add this caller here. Want to come in. Caller, go ahead. What do you have to say for us? You're on the air with WRMN 1410, the truth about Chicago sports, here with Marcus Mack, the Derek, and Nick No Gimmick Johnston. Go ahead.
Yeah, Cleveland Dennis chirping in. Like the show. Appreciate the truth.
Thank you.
That's what I heard today, and I'm kind of with you on it. I can offer a prediction, not something I normally do, but if that line can hold enough, I think Caleb Williams might have 3 throwing touchdowns.
Excellent. I like that take. Thank you for joining us on the show. We appreciate that call.
Definitely in the realm of possibility.
Go.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
We hear you. Go ahead, buddy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, because the line had dropped on my end.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
Is that the Rico that used to be at WLIP up in Kenosha?
We got both going.
Yeah, we got both callers. We got both callers still on the line. No, this is Rico G joining me, my co-host. I wanted him to join in and hear you as well on the call. Caller was calling in, and he said that he believes that Caleb can throw for 3 touchdowns. And see, guys, I'm not on those gummies. Ha!
I don't know, but maybe Mr. Cleveland is.
Well,
I mean, no offense. I'm sorry, I forgot your first name already, but I'm getting up there in age.
Cleveland Dennis.
I'm sorry, Cleveland Dennis. No offense.
You can hear and you can see what the potential is, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The truth is the potential, right?
The potential,
but
yes.
At the same time, if he throws 3 touchdowns, he's going to get beat up, and you might even see the backup quarterback.
That's true. I mean, if he keeps taking the hits that he's taking in some of these games, it could be injury that could follow. So, yes, the offensive line is very, very key. Thank you once again for joining us, Cleveland Dennis. We appreciate the call. Rico G was also joining us in as well. We appreciate Rico G joining us as we get ready to wrap up our last segment of the show. And I think the consensus is pretty much, guys, that the Rams might have the upper hand on the Bears. I know that I'm kind of leaning towards Bears winning, but I understand and agree with you guys because I see there's so many deficiencies and so many issues, that we've had going on. So I totally concede that the Bears, they could lose this game. They could lose this game big time. But my thing is that with the roster that we have, they need to win.
100%.
Yeah. And I really want them to win too because in the beginning of the season, I picked them to go 9-8. And at this point, if they keep on going at this trajectory, it's not going to be 9-8.
Call it loser's mentality, but in my mind, always what I'm looking forward to is just progression from Caleb, progression on the timing, progression on the connections that he's able to make every single time. So at the end of the day, if it is a loss on the scoreboard, yeah, it's tough, and it's tough to sit there and think that, like, oh yeah, and justify everything based on that. But if you go back and see the tape and you're like, oh, they didn't lose because of this, they didn't lose because of Caleb, I can still go at the end of the day, watch that game and be like, okay, I'm not happy. I'm satisfied to a certain degree, but damn, like that win would have been so much better.
And like Rico G said it best, patience.
Yeah.
Patience, I think, is going to have to be the key with the fan base. It's going to have to be the key with everyone, even the media involved. We're going to have to be patient because this is still a work in progress. Rico G, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I just heard that last one.
Yeah, so we're going to get ready to wrap this on up, and I think the consensus, like I said, is everyone's leaning towards Rams except me. I'm the only one picking Bears, but I'll tell you what, I know we're all going to celebrate if the Bears win. Hopefully we have a victory Monday as the Bears get ready to take on the Rams at 12 o'clock tomorrow on Fox at Soldier Field. It would be nice if I could be there, but you know what? I'm going to be right in front of the home, watch in front of the big TV. Going to have the red zone up, a little fantasy as well. I know you guys are getting that on. Rico G, you going to be doing fantasy as well this week?
I am. I've been locked into fantasy football, and then also to the Survivor Pool, which is you have to pick the team to win that week, and once you do pick them, you can't pick them for the next week. So,
who's that pick, Rico?
Surviving. What's up?
Real quick, Rico, who's that pick for your team for the Survivor?
For the Survivor, yeah, give me a second here. I just got to look at the list of games. I can't remember off the top, but
glad to hear you weren't eliminated when the Bengals lost to the Patriots week 1.
Yes.
That was a tough one.
Yeah, I didn't take the Bengals, and I didn't take the Chiefs until last week. But I believe this week, if I'm not mistaken, I'm just bringing it up, I've got the Jets.
Excellent.
This week.
And once again, this has been The Truth About Chicago Sports here on WRMN 1410 AM. We're joined by Rico G on the call-in line. I've got Nick No Gimmick Johnston and the Derek in the studio. Guys, thank you guys for joining me once again.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
It's been a great week of sports. You guys did great. First show on the rise, 8 to 10, and then The Truth About Chicago Sports, 10 to 12 follows. Next up will be the Chief Guard of the Republic with Maddie Ice McNeil as we continue this great action of Saturday on WRMN 1410 Elgin, Illinois. Guys, hope you guys have a great weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody make sure we watch some sports. We got big games today. Alabama, Georgia.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Rico G, you make sure you're checking that out as well, buddy. And to all of our fans out there, make sure we're watching the Bears tomorrow. Big game. If you are still interested in baseball, a couple baseball games today. Not sure. I know Nick said he's going to be watching. I don't know why.
Yeah. I got a Korn concert. I'm gonna go see Korn out in Tinley Park.
Yeah,
so that'll be
we
good.
go. Yeah.
Sold out.
So that'll pick up the spirits a lot more after watching some losing baseball.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. This has been a great week. Thanks for joining us, callers, all the call-in lines. We appreciate everyone, and we will be back again giving you the sports next Saturday here from WRMN 1410 AM, Elgin, Illinois, Studio 14.